So Apple has finally announced their new line of iPhones, and while I'm not a huge fan of iPhones, I think that Apple's new product looks pretty nice. Now if you want to see some other products Apple has announced during the recent press conference today, such as the new Apple TV and Watch, along with the iPhone 8, I will link that in the description. I'm not going to waste any time because I really want to dig into this new Apple device as soon as I can, so let's discuss Apple's new exciting product, the iPhone X, or 10. Now at first glance, this phone looks like an S8 just without the tiny chin at the bottom and without the black piece at the top of the smartphone. Instead, Apple has decided to use only one bezel at the top, and that's used for the front-facing camera and the microphone. Everything else is pure screen, which extends all the way to the very edges of the phone. One of the phone's most major features is Face ID, which replaces Touch ID altogether. Face ID is just what you would expect it to be. It scans your face and determines if you really are the owner of the phone you're trying to get into. Apple says that if someone tries to unlock your phone with Face ID, they have a 1 in 1,000,000% chance for it to work, compared to Touch ID, which has a 1 in 50,000% chance of unlocking if you are someone who does not own the phone. Apple actually ended up using an iPhone 10 that was defective or just wouldn't work with Face ID on stage during their demonstration.
Here is iPhone 10. Now, unlocking it is as easy as looking at it and swiping up. And, let's try that again. Ho, ho, ho. Let's go to backup here and get right in.
And yeah, it didn't really go that well. The phone has a 5.8-inch OLED display with the glass back in front, and apparently is incredibly durable. The performance is something Apple really drove home today, when they announced that it would use the Apple A11 Bionic chip, which they called the most powerful chip to ever power a smartphone. Just a little connection I made while reading about this device. Microsoft's Xbox One X, which has a very similar name to the iPhone X, also has a chip that turns it into the most powerful console ever made. So these devices, I guess, were unintentionally linked together. It's also funny that Microsoft is one of Apple's biggest competitors, yet their products this year are so similar. And even the release date is just over a week apart from these devices, and even both of them have pretty large price tags. I'll get into the iPhone X price tag in a minute. If you want to hear all the information on this device, I will link Apple's conference in the description. So what is my take on this? Do I think this phone will be successful? And honestly, at the end of the day, I think if Apple pushes this phone harder than ever, it will do well. It could even wipe the floor with the Galaxy S8. I picture the iPhone 8 as Apple's answer to the S8, and I guess the iPhone 10 or X is more of Apple gearing up for the S9, and them jumping in on the new trend of bezel-less phones. Now there still isn't a bezel-less phone from what I've seen. A bezel-less phone would be really hard to craft, and probably would lack a front-facing camera and microphone. There have been some workarounds, like a phone that actually has another screen on the back, but still, there hasn't been a phone that does something like that that's truly bezel-less. Not even the S8. I'm talking about a phone that is purely screen. Even the iPhone X isn't a bezel-less phone, and I think it's going to take until the S10 until we see a phone worthy of that title. But like I said, if Apple pushes this phone, it could be Apple's best-selling phone, even beating the 6 and the 6 Plus, which sold 220 million units and managed to take the place of the third best-selling phone. But it comes down to pushing this device really, really over the edge. The only thing that I feel like will heavily damage this phone, especially at the start of its life, like on November 3rd of this year, is the price. $1,000. That is going to heavily damage the sales of this new iPhone X. So a little quick recap on what I think on this. I think it can do well, and it could potentially beat the iPhone 6, but Apple has to try harder than they've ever tried, and that price has to come down fast. So that's my take on this, but I would love to hear your opinion on this. Please leave your thoughts on this new Apple device in the comments, and I'll try to reply back to you. If you have any gaming or tech news articles that you want me to talk about, please private message me on YouTube or leave a comment. Of course, in that comment or YouTube message, please leave the link to the article, and if you do ask, you might get a shout out for it. I hope you enjoyed this video. and see you.